Okay, good, great. Let's start with this one. At
Okay.
five, I have a series of questions. Five makes a series, I think. Mini series. I have a mini series of questions. Question number one, because I'm trying to set this up where we could talk about people we haven't already talked about.
I got it.
That's the thought process behind this. Which player not named Chet Holmgren, Paulo Banchero, Jabari Smith, Keegan Murray, Jalen Duren, or Gary Parrish will be the best front court player from this draft? Take those guys, set them aside. Who's the best one left on the table?
It is draft week. Welcome to the Ion Draft Podcast. Here we go. A few more episodes. If you have not already, seriously, go back and listen to our prospect ones. Get involved. Only 3 more days. And we're going to talk about guys that we do like that we didn't dedicate full-on episodes to. So for this specific question, I'm going to go off of my big board and my big board mock draft, which is a mock I do every year, where I try and project out my best guess at who will be the best NBA players when all of their careers are done. You know, I'm not trying to predict team behavior. I'm saying I don't care that people think Chet Holmgren's going to go second. I've got Chet Holmgren as going to be the 5th best player from this class when it's all said and done, which is still good, but I'm going to buy into some of the selling points on Holmgren. That's just one example. That'll be up later on Monday at cbssports.com. If you're watching this in real time on YouTube, if you're getting to this on Monday night, well, go and check your CBS Sports app.
Hey,
Mock
YouTube.
draft is up there. My answer to this question, best front court player that's not Paulo, Chet, Jabari, Keegan, and Jalen Duren. I would say Mark Williams. I am in on Mark Williams. I have him graded as a top 10 player in this draft class. To be clear on this, I don't believe that Mark Williams is going to grow into one of the most dynamic, all-around great centers in the NBA in 2, 4, 6 years' time. But I do think that Mark Williams's defensive aptitude will turn him into a top 5 defender as a big in the NBA. Very smart player, great length, good athleticism, really nice touch, will grow into a very good passer. I am in on Mark Williams' ceiling and long-term projection in the NBA. I have him 9th overall on my big board, so he is my answer. Who do you have, Gary Parrish?
First on Mark Williams, because I wrote about this in a column that should be posted at some point this afternoon, just sort of how the evolution of the NBA game has impacted center prospects. And, you know, there's some guys who say, I just wouldn't take a center in the top 5, even Chet Holmgren. Like even though he's uniquely gifted, I got no use for centers who can't obviously guard in space. I don't want to take him with a top 5 pick. I don't want to take him. 20 years ago, Jalen Duren's probably a top 5 pick. Kofi Coburn's probably a 1st round pick. Now Jalen Duren might go outside of the top 10 and Kofi Coburn might not get picked. The game has changed so much. So let me ask you this about Williams. Obviously, he's going to be a rim protector. Are you worried about him being put in ball screens and played off the court? Are you willing to use a lottery pick on somebody who will probably be able to get played off the court in certain, 5-out small ball lineups when the opposition goes that direction in the playoffs, which is where this stuff typically happens? He becomes problematic.
Maybe, but I'm also not all in on the idea that we'll look up in 5, 6 years and the NBA will be at that spot in the playoffs with all teams that can do that. I think that you can never fully negate and repress really good athleticism, really good size. And I think that Mark Williams will have a spot in the league for more than a decade there. And I think he's actually athletic enough where he can grow into an even better defender. No, I don't think he's going to be as paradigm shifting of a shot blocker as Chet Holmgren could possibly be, but like Williams could wind up being just about nearly as good of a defender as Holmgren is, because he's actually much more physically well built and he's nearly as long as Holmgren. And Holmgren, I think, is actually even more vulnerable beyond 10 to 12 feet. I'm not as now a huge seller after watching Storm Murphy put Mark Williams in a blender. I understand that in an ACC tournament game, but no, I'm in. I think that there's very possibly going to be scenarios down the road where we will have Big still having a lot of value, particularly if you can be a very good rim protector. And with that comes, tremendous rebounding assets. And the smaller the other team goes, as long as you've got a guy on your end of the floor who can snag miss shots, which are always going to be out there, I still think there's a lot of value. So I am a bit higher on Mark Williams than I think most, but I do think that by the end of it, he's going to. There's another player. I don't know if we'll wind up talking about him too much on this episode or not. Let me see if I have him. No, I don't think I have him in anything that we're going to get to. I also think Walker Kessler, who's going to be, I think, a better mid to long range shooter than Mark Williams. I easily can envision Walker Kessler being an 8 to 10 year starter in the NBA, and he is a center. But he has athleticism, he has touch, he has rebounding capability. He obviously is a very good rim protector, shot blocker. So there is still not just space for these guys in the NBA, but I think there's actually important roles that can be played. Some of it will be situational, but I'm in on Williams, top 10 prospect in this class as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I think Kessler's got stretch capabilities. Like, I think we'll look up in 4 years and he's, taking a decent amount of 3-pointers and making it at a good rate. And obviously the rim protecting is there. This is interesting because I went with a different front court player and basically based it on a totally opposite perspective. You go with Mark Williams, who has a very defined skill set. And I do agree the things he's great at, he'll be really good at, if not great at. I went with Jeremy Sochan out of Baylor because he's a front court prospect who is a versatile defender, who is going to be able to guard in space, who is going to be able to guard smaller guys. And I think, play some small ball 5 as well. He's a 4. But he could probably, in time, play some small ball 5. And either way, you put him in ball screens, and he's going to be able to handle himself in that space. And so I don't know what else he becomes. The shooting, I guess he has potential, but he didn't shoot a good percentage from the free throw line, which is never a good sign. But I don't know that the shot is broken. It's just a matter of, he's young. Yeah, he's got a lot of stuff to work on. And shooting would be the primary skill. But I think this is generally accepted logic from NBA front office people. Superstars are superstars. If you can get one of them, take them. But outside of that, look for guys who can do something that translates clearly. And I think Sochan's ability to guard multiple positions in the front court is a translatable skill that's going to give him an opportunity to have a really long NBA career.